all the circumstances. So, sometimes first thing in the morning I have to, get up and get some breaths of relatively fresh air from the window, Mm-hmm. But this is, when I was in downtown Toronto in 2007, I saw something. I've been kind of torn whether to say so yet, because I've been trying to figure out, if somebody can be trusted to, take a photo of it pretty quickly. But literally, I cannot be the only person to have seen this. I do know that because of ways I've been trained my whole life, I tend to notice things a lot sooner than other people do, but I still don't believe I'm the only person to have seen this, because I'll look up and everything, too. A lot of people won't really look very high up, above their eye level and stuff as they're walking around. But I'm looking all around, including what's really, well above me and stuff. And so there was a street there, at least the one that I know about, when I was taking my Yoda and my Lindell, my dogs, to and from the harbor front for a walk. And I would, there was on one of the street light poles, there was a device rigged, and it actually said either Novax or Novavax, and I'm not 100% sure which, so that's important, because I just thought it was I was thinking it was probably Novax, and it stood for what would happen is when you're walking underneath it, they would spray chemicals onto you. So there's this device rigged up there, and you're walking underneath, and chemicals get sprayed onto you as you're walking by. And I was like, what the heck? And I wasn't sure if it was just me and other people that they're through facial recognition, they're looking to target with certain chemicals, whatever, and, for the mind control, whatever, and, or if they're really doing it to everybody. But I also wasn't in a very good position to try to, try to get the photograph and stuff, since they would always spray me with these chemicals as I'm walking underneath it. So I logged it in my head, and I wanted, to get, or get it myself, or ask somebody to get it, or hopefully find a trustworthy, government official to go check it out and whatever. But then, these people, things never settled down, and I've been away from there, and I was hoping it wasn't going to evolve to potentially having the magnitude that I'm seeing now it might have, because now we're in 2020, and I'm hearing about, this company called Novavax is developing these vaccines for COVID-19. I was like, what? So I was like, I don't know if that device said Novax or Novavax, but what if it said, or was related to this Novavax and, this level of deception and maneuvering that's not for any kind of legitimate or beneficial purpose for people. I've been very, very worried about that.
Well, yeah, and the thing is that my point I was trying to make is that these programs that have been tested on, small portions of the population have, over time, I've noticed, especially, my research was more specialized back in 2015. It was a very small pocket, of a small group called Data Wars on Facebook. And, now it's something that I have watched pretty much be implemented on the masses, on the general public, with the COVID-19 and the lockdown. And, it appears to me that people are looking for answers. They're looking for the truth. They're trying to figure out what's going on. And, it's very disorientating, I'm sure, to people that haven't been exposed to these programs. But a lot of people have been exposed, and they just don't know. They don't know that there's other people that are going through the same things, because we have this compartmentalized, very highly compartmentalized society, not just in the mental health system, and just in general. People, they're classified by race or by economic situations, things of that nature. But in fact, these behavioral modification programs and the targeting, the handlers being assigned, and all of it is at every level of society. In fact, recently, Paris Hilton came out with her own documentary about her experience at, going through a private, her own trauma. And so,
she said she felt like she'd been abducted and that her parents were basically, allowed this, arranged for this, and that, people from a behavior modification facility, a residential one, basically grabbed her out of her room, out of her home, and, they did these, traumas to be working on basically the behavior modifying, the mind controlling of her. And that's what, there was a 24-hour, around-the-clock, live-in residential behavior modification facility called Shining Stars that the people believe to be my mother and stepfather, both the government-contracted intelligence psychiatrists focusing on behavior modification, different aspects of it, were the consulting psychiatrists for that. And unfortunately, I've come to realize that the kind of resources, the personnel and the equipment and everything, and the range, the reach, including whether I go to Canada or whether I'm here in the States.
I need you to speak into the mic.
Yeah, sorry, can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. With the range of, the reach of how this has gone on and on my whole life in multiple countries, by people apparently participating in this, black budget, non-consensual human experimentation and all, and type of human trafficking, then, I realized that they're, in the house, when they were working on me, I was probably... that's what it was. Like I was like a one subject, within that particular house, but it's really a behavior modification facility. And in fact, let me mention two things while I remember, and I think maybe I'll play maybe file 2 after all, because it's, I think, more relates maybe to what we ended up talking about in the intro, and then I could, save the one that I was going to play first maybe for another part. But let's see, in downtown Toronto, I also photographed other interesting devices and all that were being rigged around the area, and including radio frequency identification transponders. And once I shared them to the public, they started mysteriously disappearing them as quickly as they had mysteriously appeared to them. So that's probably not a coincidence. And there was also on one of the poles at one of the intersections in that same area, downtown Toronto, very right by the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation building and Metro Hall, where they have government offices, which is also by the apartment building I was expertly shepherded to. So, and they had one of the poles on the street at the main intersection there. It actually has a plaque on it, which most people were just kind of blissfully walking past without ever stopping to read. And it was made a little bit difficult. Like, I had to really work on getting a clear enough image of it for people to see what it says. So I think that was deliberate in the design, but I did ultimately get it. It is in the photos section on the Snowy Oak community page, and there's a plaque, which I was told by someone that had been in military intelligence that it was probably a territory marker, like an organized crime territory marker. It says, "Holy Police Cult Viral Infected."
Wow.
And I'm thinking that I read that from Jonestown, some children have been kidnapped. So I'm increasingly suspicious that, it wasn't like, the day that things came tumbling down and the massacre and all that stuff would have been from like a year before. But I'm thinking that might be what happened to me, is that I'm very suspicious that, I'm hoping to find legitimate help to find out if I was kidnapped from Jonestown compound when I was 6 years old, the year before, it all fell apart.
So, premise our, okay. Oh, premise your first audio for us.
Okay. Yeah. Bear with me one sec. Let me see here. Let me double check that it went to the right place.
Co-host.
88? Yeah, okay. So, I'm going to start, it's called Setups Need to Stop to Let Me Relocate and Live Peacefully. Okay. I'm going to start it from 1 minute, 28 seconds. It's on the Chinyere.com channel on YouTube. That's ChinyreDotCom. So youtube.com/Chinyere.com. And, oh, darn, hold it, sorry. Let me go back for a sec. It started playing already.
If you didn't catch that, I'll post it in the comments after the show.
Okay. Yeah, that's the one that says, I was thinking I would play it second, that one, with the dolphin on the thumbnail. That's the one I'm about to play. Bear with me one sec. Okay, and let me, in fact, I pulled up, because I'd already done a narration for it in the video.
Yeah, I just want to interject. Sahar has sent me the transcript of this audio as well, and I'm going to post a link to it available in the comment section of the podcast. Okay, go ahead, Sahar.
Okay, yes, that's what. I think somebody closed that where I had the transcription open. Okay, I'm going to reopen it real quick. Bear with me a sec. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Yeah, they did. Oh, these people. Okay, hold on. So let me pull up that transcription. And then, because I was going to read, like I had narrated it in the video, but I think I'm just going to narrate it live and then play from where I was recording their reactions. I thought I have to confront them and see what they have to say about this, because I'm sure it'll be informative. It was also, self-defensive, like self-protective, because they've been trying to frame me. That's the night at the Applebee's. So let's see. Oh, and you can hear a reason I'm thinking this is a best file to play now. You can hear the way they were really working with benefit. Like, I didn't know it so well at the time. I was getting increasingly suspicious, but I can look at this transcript and I can listen to this recording, and it's very transparent that that's what they were doing. The two of them, these behavior modification psychiatrists, were, screwing with my head in a very deliberate, scripted way, trying to get across to me that I can't trust anybody in law enforcement. So, don't go trying to, get help to get free from anybody in law enforcement. And, they're just going to try to, they're just going to help us to frame you. These kinds of things. And just generally, terrorizing me, like it's not safe for me to try to do anything or go anywhere, even with them, so certainly not by myself, and I was always being terrorized that I was going to be framed for something. Like, literally since I was a child, I was a minor, I was being terrorized constantly, I was going to be framed for something, let's see here. Where was I going to start? Oh, here. Okay. It was September 15th, 2015, 2:11 in the morning in Central Standard Time. We just got back from Applebee's, and I'd been getting a lot of strange behaviors with regard to a sheriff's vehicle that was in the parking lot, and it was not clear to me why. If they were just trying to screw with my head or what was up. So, I'm reading the transcription at the time. What I said is, so I'm going to ask about that. Okay, and then on this occasion, I simply took a moment to wipe off the interior condensation from my windshield prior to pulling out of the parking space at the restaurant. Because I drove myself in the vehicle, that I was the only one that was driving it, and I think that another thing is they were trying to, systematically take away my independence. So, I think my driver's license was, I'm sure in jeopardy as well if they, were free to just keep carrying on if I wasn't suspicious enough and didn't make things public right away, what they were setting up for. And then they said, and then I put in the narration, when we first came out of the restaurant, the sheriff's vehicle was already on, as were the lights on the vehicle. Okay, so I'm going to start the recording from here. And it's when I asked them, what was the concern with the sheriff's vehicle? Okay, so let me come back to where hopefully we're going to hear it. I'm going to put it on speaker. So I'll be able to hear you if you tell me that I need to try to shift where I'm holding this phone or something. Let's see.
Just make sure you hold the mic up to the audio.
Okay, I'm going to give it my best shot. I'm guessing a little bit still where some of the things are and some of them, but, okay, let's